Hello, I'm Jody Garzon, the chair of the Millis 3A MBTA Advisory Committee. On Tuesday, February 21st, 2023, the Millis 3A MBTA Advisory Committee, alongside consulting group Metropolitan Area Planning Council, hosted a planning forum to educate the community about the 3A MBTA Multifamily Zoning Act and to gather feedback and input from residents about this state mandate. This state law, known as MBTA zoning or 3A zoning, requires that all communities in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts that have or are adjacent to MBTA services, such as subway stations, commuter rail stations, and MBTA bus services, have a zoning district that allows for the building of multifamily residences by right. At the forum, MAPC consultant Alexis Smith explained what this law entails.
And what the law requires is that in every community served by the MBTA, and that includes communities like yourselves that don't necessarily have a commuter rail station within town, but are close enough that they can access it, that counts as being served by the MBTA. Every one of those municipalities must have one area of town where multifamily is allowed by right. Again, this is the requirement for all of the MBTA communities in the state, but they have broken all of those municipalities down into different types of cities and towns. What's being required of communities very close in that are served by the T is different from what's being asked of municipalities that are further out, like Millis. Again, multifamily by right, we've said that. And the punchline of all of this is that this multifamily zoning must be adopted at town meeting before the end of 2024. That is the state's deadline.
A question the committee often gets asked is, why is the state doing this?
Anyone who's looked for housing in the past 10 years knows that prices are getting more expensive. I'm not going to be able to quote the numbers, but the state is growing, is gaining people a lot faster than it's building homes. And so part of this is to try to get the number of homes to catch up with the number of people and the number of households that live here. And it's also to try to diversify the kind of housing that exists in many towns. Like many municipalities in suburban and rural Massachusetts, most homes are single family, and that just means there are fewer options for folks who may not want or need a single family house on a big yard to take care of. And so part of this is not just about building housing to catch up with the number of people, but also building, giving people more options for what kind of housing that they have access to.
The town still has some control over the specifics of the bylaw that we must create.
Because Millis is an adjacent community and does not have a transit in its borders, the town can put the district wherever it makes the most sense. And that can be in more than one place. You can split it up into different areas if that's what makes the most sense. The town can set development and design standards. So even though multifamily housing has to be allowed by right, that doesn't mean that the town doesn't have control over what's built. Provided that the regulations still allow to achieve up to a gross density of 15 units an acre, the town can regulate height and setbacks. It can set design standards to get at what this traditional town feel that a lot of people want to foster. So there are definitely ways for the town to shape what the new housing looks and feels like. The town can require affordability. That's something to think about. And again, I've mentioned this already, but create different levels of density to transition out if that's something that is the right solution for the town.
MAPC outlined the restrictions that the town does face.
What things that are not allowed as part of this 3A zoning district. Municipalities can't restrict age. The zoning needs to be family friendly and allow for all ages, essentially. The town can't put the zoning district anywhere where there's environmental constraints, so like on wetlands. And kind of by the same token, the town can't put the district on any place that's publicly owned. So on town hall or on the library, or on schools or whatever else. Again, the idea behind these latter two just being that they want it to be in places where you can something could theoretically actually get built.
Here are some maps that illustrate what 50 acres in Millis looks like. At the event and in the survey, the committee received strong positive reception to the idea of having mixed-use multifamily housing with ground floor commercial space available in this new zoning district, with support for townhouses also present. In-person and online responses also showed a preference for this zoning district to be located towards the center of town. Some comments heard from attendees of the forum include, make the town more walkable, transportation to the train station, address high-density EV charging stations. Comments submitted to the online survey include transit connection to commuter rail station and support for the rail trail. If you would like more information about the 3A zoning process or would like to give your feedback on what multifamily housing in Millis could be, contact Economic Development Director Bob Weiss at rweiss@millisma.gov. To view the entire forum, go to millismedia.org or visit the Millis Community Media YouTube or Facebook pages. Thank you.